I almost died from stress. While I was in the hospital fighting sepsis, my boss was emailing her friends about how to frame me for her failures. 5 years later, her RA summary landed on my desk, and this time, I got to decide her fate. If you've ever had a boss take credit for your work, push you past your breaking point, or quietly plan to throw you under the bus, hit subscribe, tap like, and comment, justice, below. Because this story isn't just revenge. It's poetic, career-ending karma. Let's get into it. I've been a people pleaser for as long as I can remember. The kind who says yes when they should say no. The kind who absorbs stress quietly, smiles through exhaustion, and convinces themselves that if they just work harder, things will get better. I was in my 30s at the time of this story. Over a decade deep into a marketing career I had fought hard to build. And by then, I'd had every kind of boss imaginable. The supportive ones, the forgettable ones, and the bad ones. But Pamela was in a category all her own. She was the VP of marketing and sales at a mid-sized retail company. Mid-40s, perfect hair, perfect smile. The kind of executive who spoke in buzzwords, loved visibility, and somehow never seemed to actually do anything. Rumor was, she wasn't even the company's first choice. Or second. Or third. She was hired to appease shareholders. And from the moment she arrived, the entire department began orbiting around her ego. I was a manager reporting directly to her. On paper, my role looked reasonable. In reality, I did everything. I managed website merchandising, in-store visuals, monthly sales materials, advertising strategy, budgets, project management, reporting, creative briefs, operations. And when Pamela couldn't be bothered, I sent emails from her inbox to keep the department running. She strolled in after 10 a.m., took business lunches that lasted hours, and somehow always found time to plan extravagant company parties. Which, of course, I also planned and paid for. That's where the budget nightmare began. Pamela loved spending money. Lavish events, overpriced vendors, agencies she just happened to know personally. Whenever I raised concerns, she waved me off. Just pull from next month's budget. So every month started with a clean, accurate budget and ended with a doctored version, edited under Pamela's direct instructions, made to look like spending was under control. Her handwriting was everywhere on those documents. At the time, I told myself this was just corporate reality, that keeping things afloat was my responsibility, so I worked longer. 12-hour days. Late nights after my child went to bed. Weekends before my family woke up. I told myself it was temporary. I was wrong. Then came the holiday season, the most important sales period of the entire year. And Pamela completely sabotaged it. She changed store visuals weekly, scrapped campaigns at the last minute, hired new PR and ad agencies mid-season, every single one run by her friends. She ignored the merchandising team's data-backed promotions, replaced them with her gut instincts. Sales tanked, and the pressure exploded. That's when my body gave up. An infection I'd been ignoring spiraled into sepsis. I collapsed, hospitalized, monitors beeping. Doctors telling my husband that stress had pushed my immune system over the edge. They told me I had to stop. Lying in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., I finally asked myself a terrifying question. What if I don't survive this job? While recovering, I made a mistake. I checked my work email. I saw a notification. Flowers from upper management wishing me well. I knew instantly Pamela had arranged them. They were her favorite flowers. I logged into her inbox to file the receipt properly. And that's when my blood turned to ice. Email after email. Pamela complaining to her friends about how I couldn't just shake off sepsis and get back to work. Mocking my condition. Mocking my absence. Then worse. She claimed she couldn't find any of the work I managed. My spreadsheets. My reports. All clearly labeled on our shared drive. Then I found the thread. An old colleague advising her on how to save her job. The colleague asked a simple question. Is there anyone managing most of the work? Pamela replied, Yes. My manager? The colleague responded. Then blame her. Pamela mentioned I was hospitalized. The response chilled me. You can't fire her now. It would look like retaliation. But if you can prove she's stealing or misusing resources, you have grounds. I felt sick. I wasn't a valued employee. I was a scapegoat. When I returned to work, Pamela called me into her office. Concern painted carefully across her face. I'm worried you're taking on too much, she said. She removed budget management from my role, ordered me to drop invoices to accounting, and explicitly told me, do not talk to accounting, do not go to HR, bring concerns only to her. That's when I knew. She was setting the trap. But Pamela made one fatal mistake. She underestimated the quiet people. I had a relationship with Lois, the senior accountant, and Lois didn't miss details. I gathered everything. Unaudited budgets. Old budgets with Pamela's handwriting. Emails where she threatened my job. And the email threads I found while hospitalized. I placed them all in one thick folder. When I walked into accounting and met Lois' eyes, I repeated Pamela's words exactly. Pamela is the only one allowed to discuss budgets. Lois looked at the folder. She nodded, and gently kicked me out of her office. The longest week of my career followed. On the surface, nothing changed. Pamela still floated through the office with her lat. Still laughed loudly in meetings. Still spoke with absolute confidence about strategic realignments and temporary market dips. But underneath that polished exterior, the ground was cracking, because accounting doesn't move fast, but when it does move, it's surgical. Lois didn't come to me. She didn't warn Pamela. She didn't ask questions out loud. She audited every budget, every invoice, every adjustment, and the pattern screamed. Month after month of manipulated numbers. Future budgets cannibalized to hide past overspending. Vendor payments routed to agencies with personal ties. Handwritten instructions telling someone else what numbers to change. All in Pamela's handwriting. And most importantly, a paper trail proving I was ordered to do it. By midweek, the CFO was involved. Then HR. I was called into a meeting late Friday afternoon, not with Pamela, with the CEO. HR sat quietly beside him. And before I could even speak, he said something I will never forget. We owe you an apology. I felt my shoulders drop for the first time in years. They showed me what accounting uncovered. Asked me to walk through my role. Asked me to confirm that I had raised concerns. I told the truth. All of it. No dramatics, no anger, just facts. When I finished, the CEO leaned back and exhaled slowly. You were put in an impossible position. Pamela was fired that same day. No farewell email. No explanation. No chance to spin the story. Her office was cleared quietly over the weekend. Monday morning, her name was gone from the directory. People whispered. I didn't. I was too busy breathing again. HR gave me a paid week off. Take it whenever you want, they said. I took it immediately. I slept. I spent time with my child without checking my phone. I remembered what it felt like to wake up without dread. I stayed another year at that company. But once you see the system clearly, you can't unsee it. I left on my own terms, and slowly, carefully, I rebuilt my confidence. Fast forward to today. I'm a manager again. Sales and marketing. But this time, I have a boss who trusts me. Mike. Early 40s. Straightforward. Backs my decisions, lets me lead. For the first time in my career, I'm building my own team. We open applications. Dozens of resumes flood in. And then a name. My stomach tightened. Pamela. I stared at it longer than I should have. Maybe it was someone else. It wasn't. Same career timeline. Same companies. Same inflated titles. She had fallen far. VP was the peak. Now she was applying to report to me. I opened her resume, and there it was. She claimed my work as hers. My campaigns. My reporting structures. My holiday season. She even claimed an 87% sales increase. The same holiday season that almost killed me. I sat there for a moment. Old instincts whispered give her a chance. Be the bigger person. But this wasn't pettiness. This was responsibility. I thought about my team, about trust, about protecting people from exactly what I survived. I qualified. No note, no interview, no drama, just consequence. And for the first time, being a former people pleaser felt powerful. Here's the thing. I didn't ruin her career. She did. All I did was refuse to lie for her again. Justice doesn't always come with confrontation. Sometimes it comes quietly, through a raw resume and a single click. If this story gave you chills, hit like. If you've ever worked under someone like Pamela, subscribe. You're not alone here. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying karma you've ever witnessed? Because sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply refusing to save someone who never deserved saving.